What's going on everyone? Whoa, I'm
Whoa.
Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 181 of Behind the ToolBelt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
Behind the Tool Belt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
I just think our salespeople are being a little bit of, well, lead babies.
Yeah, we don't say lead babies. It's okay for people to specialize in selling instead of canvassing and lead gen for themselves. We call them roofing sales professionals.
Surprisingly, sales are way up as we've built heavier duty lead gen systems and let our salespeople be roofing sales professionals.
Better leads. TC Backer.
Boom, TC Backer family, roofing family.
We're back.
How is everyone doing, man? It's Wednesday, man. It's favorite day of the week. Hopefully you guys are having a great week, man. It's a little rainy here, man, but we needed it. We needed it bad. We've had a lot of action, dude, in the past week since we've had this. We had a hailstorm last week in Linglestown.
Yep.
We had one last week in Delaware, right at the Delaware office. So real busy, lot going on per usual, but I love it.
Yeah. Tornado touchdown. What?
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday?
Monday, I think.
Monday or Tuesday. So we're getting a lot of action. How are you guys doing out there? You seen any weather? Good weather, bad weather?
We're the same way. We were extremely dry. It was dry today for us, but Sunday, Monday, Tuesday we had some rain, so we needed it bad.
Right on. Mm-hmm. Before we get too far, we have Bob and Emily Hoel with Hoel Roofing out there in the great state of Indiana. Is that accurate?
Welcome.
Indiana, or is it Ohio? Neighbors to Dylan Mullins. Don't you guys live in the same house together out there somewhere or something? Just kidding, because I know everybody thinks that you guys are neighbors or some shit. Because
Indiana.
Yeah, it's Indiana, great state of Indiana. Do you guys get a lot of storms out there?
We can, yes.
Okay, probably just like anywhere else, but I didn't know if that was like considered like. But do you guys mostly do retail or storm?
Good mix of both. A little heavier on storms.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. So welcome to the show once again, Bob. Bob's been on the show. Emily, I think, is this your first time on the show?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. We always wondered who the boss was and who wore the pants in that household. Bob talks highly of you, by the way. Wink, wink. But
how much did he pay you to say that?
Yeah, he does. He does speak highly of you. He really does. He does. But thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. And
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show. So give us some, give us some interesting things that you guys are into out there and what you do to stay afloat and what you go through on a daily basis, I guess, being a married couple, entrepreneurs, business partners, and all that good stuff. Give us the pros and cons and the daily grind and the hustle and the wins and the achievements. Give us the whole
The
spectrum.
whole shebang.
Yeah.
I guess the pros, we get to work together every day. The cons, we get to work together every single day.
I knew. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But there's got to be benefits with that, right?
Yes, because we can work through stuff together, and we're right there next to each other. And if something pops up, pop in each other's office, go over it. So that's the benefit of it, because we're right here, right next to each other, working through and pushing through stuff. And then, we're still growing, so we're still figuring stuff out. Every day there's something new. So we're really going towards getting stuff really ironed out and figuring that out, so that, when a problem comes up, we don't have the same problem again.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you guys start the business together? Or
Yes.
did you start? Yeah. So you guys both went in it together at the same time?
I mean, our youngest was little, so she was helping kind of. She had a lot lesser role than she does now.
Gotcha.
But she was staying home or raising 3 kids. So
Yeah. Business owners and raising 3 kids at one time, man. I commend you.
Yeah, that's not an easy
tough.
task. I know Jana and I, Jana worked full time at Weaver Optical. She was I don't know how you pronounce it, optometrist. Yeah. So she did that for over a decade. We had actually known each other for forever. I knew her mom and dad and had known Jana for 30 plus years. So anyhow, so eventually, we grew. It was me and Perry. We started out in my living room and kind of like you guys did, I'm sure, working, from home, out of your house. And so she quit her job. She came to work for me full time. And some of that reason was because back then I didn't have a driver's license. So I needed a driver. And so I paid someone usually to drive me around, and it just made more sense. But then when we found someone reliable or I got my driver's license, or maybe a little bit of both. So she went in the office full time with Perry, and believe it or not, we didn't get at each other. Like I think most times people would think that, you can't work and live with, take it home. Can you disconnect it? There was actually a lot of benefits to that, where a lot of things wouldn't fall through the cracks because we were with each other all the time. But then you got to have that time too, where it's just time to shut it off. And then juggling kids, and at that time too, I did a lot around the house too. Like I did laundry to help especially when she was with me. And those are the things too. Like I made dinner. I did the laundry. Actually, I think I taught Jana how to do laundry.
You better get that out before she gets
I'm
in here.
sure
dog.
she's in there somewhere. That's actually a running joke around our house right now, or has been for years. But anyhow, I would jump in and pitch in, right? I mean, it's just what you do to make things work. So then one or the other person don't feel like they're doing more than the other person, right?
Teamwork, man.
Yeah.
Partnership.
It was teamwork, and that really created a strong, firm foundation for the company. And helped us align with what our values were, and how it created that family oriented, that family vibe business, that you could honestly, truly say that this is a family owned and operated business.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure it puts you guys at the point right now that like she knows firsthand exactly what you go through on a daily basis too. You know what I mean? And what it takes, and like what it took back then, we've 10x'd since then, maybe probably more than that, honestly. And it's like, so she truly understands, and she's a G, man, because she puts up with everything. She never complains.
No.
So that's probably a major benefit, and I'm sure you guys deal with that the same way. I mean, both of you guys understand what each other is going through on a daily basis, and you guys both have skin in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's what each other's both pains are, strengths, weaknesses, and if you use them to your advantage, like let's just say Bob's more techie or you're stronger at production, probably more realistic. Bob, you're probably stronger on the production side of things, and Emily, you're probably more techie. So if you can figure that out, the sooner. Am I wrong, or is that right?
Yeah, you're way wrong.
I'm literally an 80-year-old trapped in a 34-year-old
Okay.
body.
Hey, welcome to
when
the
it comes to technology.
welcome to the club. I'm a 39-year-old boy stuck in a 46-year-old man's body. That's more truer than you know. So it'd probably be more like 21 stuck in a 46-year-old body. But
Hunter said Emily does everything.
is that what that is?
Yep.
Like, I'm scared to look at the comments because I think Janet might be in there. So I'm
Dude, I've been watching. Dog.
I'm terrified to look in there. So I'm not even looking at it. But what a gift, right? What a gift and a blessing that you two haven't killed each other first and foremost yet. But you get to work together and your kids get to watch how hard their parents work. And I'm sure you're, instilling that in them, at least I know that's what's happened at our household. And I think sometimes too, they're the good, how do I want to put this? The silent referee, like not to be irritated with each other in front of them. So you kind of tone bank things back. At least that's how Jan and I were with Rocket, Mackenzie, and Jacob there for a while. We would stop and it's like, okay, now it's family times. Like sometimes you need those moments of reality kicking in when one of the kids go crawling across the floor. It's like, oh shit, I guess we need to stop yelling at each other for a minute and pay attention to our kids and be parents right now. But it is I'd say one of the cons is knowing when to take off those hats, right? Entrepreneur cap, I'm the husband, I'm the wife cap, and mentor or whatever roles that day you guys are playing. I'm sure you wear many more hats than that on a daily given basis, especially if you have any type of an employee, right? Employees, you're sometimes a marriage counselor, sometimes you're the TV repair guy, sometimes you're their therapist, their life coach, I mean, all of these different hats that we wear on a daily basis. But
Bob, they're digging you a grave in the comments right now, dog. Can you see the comments? Hunter and Dylan.
I just clicked over so I can see him. It's all right. So because I give it right back to them.
Your neighbor is digging you a hole, bud.
Yeah.
I love it. Good stuff, man.
Yeah,
good stuff.
It is good stuff.
So what are some challenges that you guys have faced? Not even necessarily that has to do with being married and being business owners, but just being business owners in general. Like the roofing industry is a grind. We all know this. What are some challenges that you guys have faced and overcome, man?
I think for me, the role that I'm in, I've had to learn a lot of stuff, kind of just going out to job sites, being hands-on, seeing it firsthand, because a lot of guys that own their own business, they've installed or they've been a sales rep. They've done that background of that. I didn't. So I've learned a lot just being out when stuff pops up or being on the job site. And as you know, every job's different. So you learn something new every single day.
Right.
And just to kind of set the stage, Emily heads up production. I was kind of heading up sales manager. I just released that role to a young man. So I guess I'm acting more as a general manager, focusing on managing sales and marketing, just to kind of, and I did come from the sales rep side. That's how I got into business. She was at that time a legit stay-at-home mom when I got in there. So but she would go out with me and stuff, especially when we just had our son. She'd jump in the truck every once in a while and go hang out with me. So she saw a little bit of that, but a lot of it's trial and error. And, as anybody that's been an entrepreneur very long, is I always tell my guys, I'm just too dumb to quit. You got to keep going. And, some days it's like, holy shit, like you forced doing a job and then you had to go back 6 different times to clean it up. You just don't want to do that again. We had a guy that wanted this EPDM done when it was too cold. And I said, it won't leak, but it's not going to look pretty. Guess what? We redid that job. That was a couple of years ago. We haven't done another EPDM job while it was been cold because, we said to hell with that, so.
Right.
Right on.
40 degrees, man.
Yeah. So Bob, I got a question for you. So as I was listening to you talk and I'm hearing you talk about delegation and stuff, at what point in time, if and when or ever, did you discover when it's not how the hell am I going to do this? It's who am I going to get to do this or help me with this?
Great question.
Well, I guess I was just talking about this. My first team member was my youngest brother, and he pretty much quit his job and said, I'm going to come and work for you. And that was my first year in business. And, that first year in business, it was come high hell or water. We were going to make this work. Like it's ironic that Ty, that you said something about, from the couch, starting from the couch. Like I remember the day that Emily's sitting there on the couch, feeding our youngest one, Riley. And I mean, Riley's a few weeks old, and I'd been saying something for a year that I wanted to start a business. And she kept kind of throwing a number at me that she wanted in the bank. And so I don't even think we quite had that much. For some reason, I don't feel like we did. And I don't even remember the number exactly. And I finally said it one night. She's like, all right, let's do it. And I thought, oh shit, like I said I wanted to do it, but now she's kind of telling me either put up or shut up, Yeah. So we did it. And that first year, like my brother wanted to come, and it didn't work out with him working for me. He's a great brother. We're still really close. I just wish I tried to make him into a sales guy because that's all I knew. And looking back, I wish I would have had him as like a true project manager, job supervisor, because then he was real personal with customers. Then I could have just been out selling like crazy, and he could have been getting the jobs done for me. But so I think to kind of answer your question, Ty, as a salesman, like it's really hard to delegate and hand off them leads. Mm-hmm. We're in a rural market, in the little town that we're in. Like, I get a lot of people call me, hey, my classmates are calling me, or you graduated with my daughter. And there's some people that like expect me to come out. And so like them first couple of reps that you're giving leads to, like it's hard. So I guess I realized real quick that, the saying, quit working in your business and work on your business. So I just got better at delegating. And we all know in business, the sooner we replace ourselves, the better off we are. But our egos are too damn big to do it quick enough, So for me, it was really hard letting go of them leads and making sure my people were taken care of, you know. But then when you get a text message or a phone call saying, oh my gosh, they were awesome, I'm like, all right, you just got to be picky on who you allow them leads to go to and who you allow to represent you.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think the biggest thing or the hardest or the best lesson that you learned in delegating?
You got to delegate when they are ready, not when you are ready. And we collectively, me and Emily, have made some hires that we delegated stuff way too quick to, and it didn't work out.
Right. So are you thinking that is because of incompetency, or do you think it was due to training, or a little
training? As an entrepreneur, like I just figure shit out. I just go do it. Like, nobody told me how to go start a business. Like I just went and decided to do that. Right. And I have to remember that you got to train. And another thing is you got to repeat yourself so many times. Like we think we say it one or two times, then that's fine. But it's not, so that's actually something that we've started to be very intentional about, of like every meeting starting with a kind of the top same X amount of things just to drive that home to the team.
Yeah. What is it, Todd? 7?
Yeah. At least 7 times. You got to repeat. Times. You got to say something 7 times. I don't remember. I think like the first 3 or 4 times they hear you, but they're not totally convinced yet. But after like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time, I think they finally start to realize that like, that's he means that. So have you what have you done with your training process, to help with that learning curve, or to expedite that learning curve that when you delegate for someone? Have you come up with some kind of training process, a duplicating process where it's documented someplace where, you know, that they can go to so they're not continuously screwing things up or continuously bugging you? Like, have you created like a database or a portal or a library for them that they can go to and pick up the pieces?
We're working. We're right now. We're being very intentional on that. Like we've got like a production manual that is kind of it's more the nuts and bolts of the main stuff that we do. And actually, we just hired a new production kid starting Monday, and he just walked out with it tonight. And I just told him, I was like, hey, them last third, that's more geared towards sales and the sales process. I said, it won't be bad for you to read through it and understand it. But yeah, to answer your question, you know, we install OC. So our new production guy was watching some of them videos. And then one thing that I just continue to preach to Emily is like, you got to get hands on, got to get out there. It was in between rain showers yesterday. We had a repair. He had watched videos on Monday and he came back last night. He's like, holy cow. He's like, it clicked. Like he goes, I get it. He's like, I was really glad to watch them videos, but then it was really good to see it. And then we had some metal roofing training today. And then him and Emily swung by a shingle job. And once again, he just got to see it happening right then. So I told him he's keeping track of in a separate notebook. He's got one notebook for his own notes, and he's keeping track in a separate notebook, everything that he's going through and kind of writing down what he thinks of that, because we're going to, you know, add that to our onboarding system. So that's one of my goals for this year.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is? You know, you're making these hires, you're delegating and all that stuff. How important do you think it is to allow these people to fail sometimes?
It's very important, because if you don't give them that freedom, and it is hard, because that's why I struggle with delegating tasks, because if I screw up, then that's one thing. But if I tell someone how to do it and then they screw up, that's a whole nother ballpark, because I feel like, did I not tell them correctly, or are they not comprehending it? What am I doing wrong? So it's one thing for me to feel like if I screw up, but if I tell them how to do it, you know, so I struggle with that. But I think it's important, because then if you go back to them and say, hey, I told you how to do this, you screwed it up. And then they won't, most likely they won't do it again. Or you show them, hey, you shouldn't have done it like this. But if you save them every time, they're just going to keep making.
They're never going to learn. They know that you're going to swoop in, and it's like, you know, we've come to realize up here, if you have, you know, really, really good processes in place, right, Ty? We will.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
We're going to know, is it a personnel issue? Is it a training issue? And not only that, if you allow somebody to fail with a good process in place, you can pinpoint the exact point that they steered off course. And offer that coaching. It creates coaching moments, because let's face it, people don't leave jobs, they leave leaders.
Yeah, they leave people.
Yeah, they leave bosses.
Yeah, but this is something to keep in mind too. Unfortunately or fortunately, like you touched briefly on, it's a learning moment for both the trainer and the trainee, right? Or the coach or whatever, right? And it's ever evolving, right? Like the systems and processes, you know, like Chris touched on there, it's like when you have a process and systems in place, it identifies the only two things that could be an issue: personnel issue or a process issue. Is the personnel not trained enough? Do they have a learning disability, right? And that's an area where, for me, I had to work on empathy, right? And this is the thing too. I have a slight learning disability myself. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. Like, show me one time, stand next to me, let me do it, and tell me what I did wrong. Right. That's how I need to be taught. And I also need to be taught by just don't tell me to do something. Tell me why I'm doing this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Tell me exactly why the white wire is going to go on top and the black wire is going to go on top. And why does a ceiling fan have a red wire, a black wire, and a white wire? You know what I mean? And I use that as an analogy because I was an electrician as a kid, and I was just told what to do. Right, like just go, receptacles are 36 inches off the floor, whatever it was back then. Code switches, light switches were 42 inches off the floor, and you need 6 receptacles per room at under so many square feet, and then it needs radon and it needed a smoke detector, right? But I wasn't told, why so many wires and what did the individual wires and stuff do. And if I would have been trained that way, I probably would have caught on a lot quicker. Like, this is why you want to put, the ice and water down first, or drip edge, however, whatever book you're reading, right, by whatever shingle manufacturer. You know what I mean? This is why. So that when the ice backs up underneath the drip edge, there's ice and water underneath that's protecting the OSB or whatever. You know what I mean? So for me to be trained like that, and show me and tell me, don't just show me, but also tell me why you're showing me. But it's ever evolving too as your company grows. And that's why it's so important, even if it's a half-ass system, like, put it in place, you know what I mean? And find out what needs tweaked with it, because it's going to continuously need tweaked. Like, it just is, as the company grows and more jobs are designed and created, like things that you didn't even know you needed. Like production managers, costing managers, procurement managers. I mean, all of these things. It's like, Christ, I didn't even know what the fuck a procurement was. You know what I mean? Or didn't quantify. What do you mean? What the fuck quantify? What doesn't quantify?
You love that.
What? Yeah, I can't stand. Don't ever use that word, Bob. Okay. But it just doesn't quantify. But it's ever evolving. It's ever evolving, ever changing. So where I used to get hummed up, like, I would beat the crap out of myself because our system wasn't good enough. We're not doing enough fast enough, and we should have had this shit done 36 months ago. It was like I was constantly, and you know what to come to find out is that the entire time I'm screaming, grow, 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 go, move faster. And it's like I was pointing a finger and there was 3 fingers pointing back. I became the bottleneck of the company because I didn't know how to delegate, nor was I a very good, I don't even want to say coach or teacher. I think my fear, what hemmed me up is I kept thinking I didn't have the time to train this person. I kept thinking, God, this would take months. And I need to get this done and I'll do it myself. But it's like, yes, it does. It does cost money up front. And yes, it does take time up front, but in the long run, in the distance from now, you're actually saving time and creating more revenue, because the sooner you do it, the quicker you're going to get them where they need to be and coach them and mentor them and train them and get them where they need to be. And I get my satisfaction today. And I know Bob and Emily, you do too, is watching and helping other people prosper and grow personally, professionally on that level. So it's kind of like, I don't look at that now as a pain in my ass. I look at that as a moment for me to help improve the quality of somebody else's life. And when you can look at it like that, it doesn't become a burden anymore.
Yeah. And Ty, I like how you touched on, even if you have a half-ass system, or what you would call, because 99 times out of 100, it's not as half-ass as you think it is. But what that will do, if you have a half-ass system, we'll call it, and you allow these people to run the system and fail, it's going to not only give you coaching moments for them, but it's also going to teach you what you need to tweak about your own system. You know what I mean? So you need people to run through the playbook in order to know if the plays work, right? So it's a double-edged sword there, you know what I mean? But you have to do that. Jocko talks about the decentralized command. Allow your leaders to do leader shit and allow them to fail, because that's how they're going to learn, man. And you have to, there's nothing more rewarding as somebody that is being led by the commander to be allowed to fail and then have him not wig the fuck out on you. You know what I mean? Like, let's have a coaching moment. Let's figure out exactly at what point, did we do this? Is this a personnel issue? Is it a process issue? If it's a process issue, what happened? What can we do? You know what I mean? What can we do to fix it? Identify it, fix it, and start back over. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what literally the new production guy, I looked him in the eyes today and I said, hey, we were talking about metal roofing, and I said, you're going to screw up. And I said, that's okay.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to be calling me one day at 4:30 and you're like, shit, I got to go pick up 3 more panels because I didn't double check this right when we ordered it. And I said, you're going to get home at 8:30 one night from running to get more panels. And I said, you won't do that again, will you?
Nope.
And that's what I told him. And same thing with the sales manager transition in. I was half-assing being a sales manager. I was trying to do 20 other things. And I told him, like, he's come up with some ideas, and I was like, you got to try it. Like, whoop-de-doo, if they don't work, you guys would laugh if you knew how much shit I've tried it didn't work. So I was like, but you got to give them permission. And I'm bad. I show a ton of grace to everybody but Emily. And then when she chews or screws up, like, I jump her way worse than I would anybody else. So I'm trying to work on that for myself.
Yeah, and it's not difficult to have higher expectations, especially to those that you love the most. And that's unfortunate that we do that as humans for whatever reason. I think that's already built into us, is to rely heavily, right? And then have unrealistic expectations. Like, I expect you to be perfect. And again, that goes back to when I'm pointing the finger, I got 3 pointing at me. And I think after so much time of doing that and then realizing and me screwing up too, shortly after I just got done busting your balls about something, I think after a while I got tired of saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's like after a while I just get so sick and tired of making amends that at that point in time it's kind of like I don't even believe you anyhow. But we learn from that through pain. There's growth on any level, whether it be marriage, whether it be at work, and for you guys it's at both places. And again, that's a blessing. And if you can remain with that feeling of, man, how lucky are you? Like how many other couples that don't even see each other, let alone, at the dinner table at night, but you guys get to see and speak and talk and maybe hopefully have that little bit of flexibility. Like if one of the kids are sick, go pick them up, stay at home with them and take care of your family the way that you guys probably intended to. And maybe not all the time, but realistically, you have more time for yourselves because you're not clocking in and clocking out. You're kind of making your own schedules, doing your own things and being rewarded from I should say, being rewarded from helping homeowners, helping your teammates, and more importantly, raising your family.
Well, and that's such a tricky balance. People want to talk about work-life balance, and you can't have that when you're growing, unfortunately. We're very fortunate where the kids think it's cool to come into the office in the front conference room. We got a big TV in there so they can watch it. They go in the back and play in the warehouse and climb over felt and ice and water and all that, all that stuff. But, and also like there's that balance of like, it's fortunate we're in Revolt. We're looking forward to the Punta Cana trip here in a month. And then me and I'm gonna take my son to that father-son retreat, in August. So, there's days that I work 18, 20 hours. However, then there's we're gonna be gone for about a week there. I mean, we'll still be working some from our phone, but that'll be fun. But like I said, the team has to see us continue to put that in there. And then there's going to come that time where it's going to transition into less of us putting hours in. And, I've had that conversation with a couple of the leaders already, like, hey guys, like, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but you weren't here in the beginning. So you're going to notice some of this. And, they all seem to understand that. So, and back on like pushing people and, pushing them, expecting more, like, we found kind of a sweet spot, and we've got a few young men that are in their mid-20s, and they're making money that they've never made before. So that I push them guys, and a lot of times I got to apologize to them guys because I pushed them. I ride them a little hard just because, man, the freaking opportunity that they have, and I mean genuinely, like, we care about our team almost to a fault. Like, sometimes we show way too much grace because we want to love our team. Sometimes we put more work and stress on ourselves from doing that, however, like I want, I just want a team that is willing to kick ass, and they got to know that we love them and that, we're out front, kicking ass for them. So,
yeah. No, and that's a good point. And to circle back a little bit on your work-life balance thing, the way, and I heard it somewhere and I'm not sure where I heard it, and I can't take the credit for it, but I think nowadays, realistically, it's work-life blend, right?
Yeah.
It's blend. Like you got to blend it in, even if it's like you guys go Tuesdays is the day for you guys to have lunch, right? Come hell or high water, 12:30, we meet to have lunch. However, you got to make that blend work. Doesn't matter, because realistically, this is your life. So really, it's not even work. Let's just forget that part of it and remove that from our mind, that we have to wake up to go to work every day. That's not the case. We get to wake up today. We don't have to do this. We get to do this. And I get to spend most of the day with my wife. And there has to be little time frames, doesn't have to be long time frames, where you're blending your work, your life, and your marriage, and all that good stuff in there. And two other things too, Bob. I think a lot of times, as entrepreneurs, leaders, managers, bosses, whatever you want to call ourselves, I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up because we think that we can't have bad days, right? Where we might come out of the side of our neck or whatever. But I think after a while of doing and continuously doing the next right thing, I think what happens is we build up what I call a trust bank. And every now, over the years, you've deposited into this trust bank, right? And every now and then you got to make a withdrawal, and I think as long as you've built that trust bank up, it's okay for you to take out a withdrawal. And this is the other thing too, where the balancing act in that thin line is that as a manager, as an entrepreneur, whatever leader, people do need a swift kick in the ass every now and then. Okay. So they got to get that straight too. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's a part of leadership. Sometimes it's those uncomfortable conversations, and really it comes down to what you actually tolerate that makes you a good leader and creates a culture that you want. And that's the driving force. You're the driving force of and directing whatever culture you choose. So wherever you draw that line in the sand of like, okay, enough is enough, or we allow grab ass Friday mornings, coffee and the donuts are here. Give the guys that 45 minutes to grab ass in the office, but come 7:30, your ass better be off the dock and in that truck. You know what I mean? Because you've set those expectations, right? And we're still hard on ourselves. Like we're not giving them enough. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like how much more really do we have to give? As owners and stuff. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times they may put us on pedestals and think that we're built of steel and that we don't have feelings and we don't have emotions and we're not sensitive and we're not all these things. And it would be nice if somebody would actually ask us if we were okay sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
All said, man.
And I mean, I've jumped her ass before and had to like go out and apologize and be like, hey guys, it's unprofessional. I shouldn't have done that. Kind of thing. So lesson learned. Yeah. Fortunately, I haven't had to make that apology lately. I should probably not say anything out loud because I'll be texting you in a couple of days and be like, hey, Ty, I was a dumbass today and I had to make that apology, so.
Right on.
Knock on some wood, dude.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us, homie. So don't beat yourself up. Again, you got that trust bank you're working on, or karma bank, whatever you want to call it. Both. It's actually, there's two banks that you got to fill up and keep full to the brim.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Well, and you're so right on like what you tolerate, and that's something that I've had to work on lately with the team because I started catching them coming in at 8:03 and 8:05, and once again that repeating yourself multiple times of like, hey, we need to have our butts in the seat by 8 o'clock working, not grabbing coffee or shooting the breeze in the break room. Like, head down, come in at 7:55 if that's what you want to do, kind of thing. So, and that's just, it's hard because you start and, you want a real family atmosphere. And then sometimes you have to look back and realize that you're not loving yourself enough to set some boundaries that you're letting other people, get out of bounds per se.
Yeah. That's probably one of the hardest parts, at least speaking for me personally. That's one of the hardest parts about being in a, I don't even want to say leadership position, but in a management role where like other people depend on you. Having that ability to call people on their shit
Yep.
Is hard sometimes, man, because I'm the kind of guy, man, I like to be friends with people. I like to enjoy myself. I mean, I love where I work. I love the team that I have. I love everything about this. You know what I mean? I wake up and I get out of bed and I'm like, I have to go to work. I don't ever have that feeling. And there's not a lot of people that have that. So like, I'm fortunate for that. But at the same time, like that's probably been my biggest growing point since I came to work here, is like recognizing when, and even holding myself accountable on some of those things. You know what I mean? Like that's tough to not only hold yourself accountable, but hold other people accountable. Cause it's like, oh, they're going to be mad at me because I'm being a dick. Like, and it's like, there's ways that you can talk to people about those things too, without being a dick too. Because if somebody truly cares about Ty, they're not going to take advantage of him, and they're going to understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? They're going to understand. And it's all about, you know, Ty, you say all the time, you know, I can make this situation as good or as bad as I want to. And there is ways that you can go about telling people to respect you as the business owner without being a dick. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, you got to do that. You have to set those boundaries, and you have to understand that people need to respect that shit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And this is the thing too. Most of the generation nowadays don't know how to take constructive criticism. Right. So that's something too that you got to learn how to navigate as well. And then the other thing that I've learned too over the years, and not so much as when we were a smaller business, because we're still considered a small to maybe medium-sized business. But when things were smaller, it was like punctuality. And when you clocked in and when you clocked out was a major thing, because every dollar made sense, you know, and budgets were tight and we had mouths to feed. And personally, you were still trying to make a living yourself personally, right? Every dime counted that came in the door. But I think over time, you kind of, and even then, you got to learn to pick and choose your battles, right? Like, what am I going to stress about today? And then you got to ask yourself the question, how important is it really? You know what I mean? How important is it really if they're 5 minutes standing at the coffee pot, as long as it's a good team and they have proven themselves to pick up pace when pace is needed to be picked up. You're more lenient at times of grab assery. Right. Like when you're out there fucking around, because I hear the fuck around all the time outside my door. But I'm not, I don't open the door and say, what are you doing out there? Get to work. Now, every now and then I'll say, do you guys need something to do? And right away it's like, oh, nope, I'm good. I'm just making sure, because I got plenty for you to do. You know what I mean? And I don't have to be a dick about it. I can be half sarcastic and everyone's like, oh shit.
People know what that means.
Yeah. Right.
People know what that means.
Everybody knows what that means.
Right.
It means I'm in here killing myself for you, and I almost expect you to do the same thing for me.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a great point, Ty, because, you know, having that balance and knowing when to say something and knowing when to let things go, by you being able to recognize that and do it the way that you have done it, what has happened naturally is we have a team of people that don't mind clocking in after hours. They don't mind if something needs done. If payroll, you know, I see Sammy all the time. She'll clock in at 8 o'clock at night and knock
sometimes
some things
later.
out.
Midnight.
Sometimes later.
Yeah.
And knock some shit out. You know, there's people I don't even know who doesn't work on the weekends, to be honest with you. There's a lot of people that work weekends that, you know, it's not expected. It's not a forced thing around here. It's just people do it because you don't want to let the team down. You know what I mean? So like you said, Ty, you know, by not being, you know, that, what are you doing out there? Why are you guys having fun? I hear laughter. You shouldn't be laughing. You know what I mean? Like that kind of environment doesn't brew what we have here. You know what I mean? So it's, you don't have to ask for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People willingly give it. They want to work harder for you and do those things without having to be asked.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and one thing that we've learned lately is just like, you got to kind of nip that shit in the ass in the beginning and have them conversations. And I like your comment. Do you need something to do? Because usually I'm like, why the hell aren't you doing something? You know, so I'm gonna use that, Ty, next time. You know, and one thing that I had a guy tell me, we were talking about being such a big family at work. And he goes, yeah, but you got to watch a little bit of that, because he goes, even families get tired of each other, and even families get toxic. And I'm like, damn, he's right. You know, and I know there's some people like, oh, you shouldn't be friends with your team. Like I want to be like, you know, one of our sales guys just had a little one last fall. We went to the diaper party. Like, you know, a mentor friend of mine, Dave Ramsey, says, you don't miss a birth, you don't miss a death, you know, so get your ass to the hospital when they have a baby, you know, show up to grandma's funeral, whatever that looks like, you know. But it's one thing that we've learned. And, you know, another thing is that we're really focusing on clear communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And one thing we struggled with early on was not showing the team what success looked like in their position. Like, I just hired somebody, I just need them to get a bunch of shit done because I was just trying to delegate, but we weren't being clear of like, hey, this is what your day, you know, needs to look like, kind of thing, and or what's expected, you know, every day. And another thing that I've learned is just ask the team to be at work when they're at work. You know, yes, sometimes they got to work late. You know, sometimes the girls that answers the phone, they take a phone call, you know, after hours, get the lead information, pass it on to a sales rep, you know, but work when they're at work. And if they work when they're at work and get their shit done, that's one thing.
That's good, Bob. That's so good. I like that, you know, be at the funeral and be at the hospital. And that's definitely something that I never really took into consideration. So I'm taking that one, bro. That's a good one. That's a
Absolutely.
good one. And making the expectations clear, right? And that kind of maybe sort of goes back into the training process.
Yes.
You know, and again, you don't just get that overnight. That's something from trial and error and painting that picture clear. And see, this is something I've ran into too over the years. Just because I say something and I think I articulated it well does not mean that they understood exactly what I meant. And sometimes you have to repeat yourself in 3 different angles before people can pick that up. And it's okay to say, you know, did you fully grasp what I'm saying? Because if not, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just let me know that you understand what it is that I mean. And sometimes I'm in such a hurry, I'll spurt something out, turn around, close the door, sit back down in front of my computer, go back 3 days, and it's something that I asked them to do, but it was done totally the opposite way, and not being a dick. Like, if I see that it wasn't done exactly the way that I thought that it should have been done, and then I don't know how many times I've discovered too where it's like, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or I have to say that's not quite what I thought. Or you know, I just recently heard something like, if something's going on with somebody and they're doing something that I don't like, especially if it's you know, an entrepreneurial thing, and I have to speak to one of my team members, or there's some other turmoil or conflict. It doesn't even have to be at work. You know, you pick up the phone, you call them, and it's like, don't even start with the small talk, really. Like, it's not how was your day today or anything like that. It's more so started out like, hey, I need your help with something. Their ears perk up. It's like, oh, he needs my help. Well, you know, that thing that you said at the meeting the other day, I didn't really think that was the appropriate time to yell at your wife, or whatever, right? Whatever the case might be.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think that we could do to make that a better situation, and like throw it back at them and sincerely listen to their response, right? But it's all about, it's in your approach on how you approach them. And so many times, Chris, you nailed it earlier, I've handled situations so poorly to the point where it trumped the actual situation that pissed me off, that everyone forgot about, that they destroyed a $90,000 truck. It was my behavior that they remembered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not that that's ever happened, but I had explained the gas cap story.
Gas cap.
Yeah, I have a gas cap
instantly
story.
What I thought of.
Yeah, a gas cap story that cost me $13,000 twice just for a goddamn gas cap. But I handled it very poorly. you know, and my expectations were unrealistic, and I could have nipped it in the bud and just went and bought a gas cap real quick within 12 hours, and the engine wouldn't have blew up again. But because it wouldn't have got rainwater in the motor. But I handled it very poorly. I let it go for 5 days, and they told me that the truck blew up and it was a piece of shit. And I thought, you know, I worked really fucking hard for that truck, and it's not a piece of shit. And I really told him how I felt.
Yeah.
And then some, and then chased him up the parking lot. Lauren was screaming, Ty's gonna kill so and so.
It was rough.
And yeah, you know, it happens. I mean, I'm human, right?
Yeah.
I just scratched the surface, and let me not get enough sleep and eat poorly for about a week, and you know, and drink too much sugar and whatever. And I just, you know, most of it's because I'm not taking care of myself spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Yeah.
Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah. And here's the key part of that, Ty. I'm going to point out a couple different things here. Number one, you still use that situation today as a learning experience. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You'll never forget that experience. Number two, you developed a team around you that was well enough to let you know about your shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had numerous people that told you.
Now that was also handled poorly. So let's not get too carried away.
For sure. It was. There was a lot of,
but there was a lesson learned for a lot of us there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Everyone refers back to this gas cap incident.
The gas cap story.
That was a big turning point for a lot of thought processes and how people do.
Listen, and this is what it
sure.
did. This is what the outcome of that was, is that it made me feel like horrible, right? And then for maybe 2 weeks, everybody walked on eggshells around me, because that was, for a lot of people, never saw me act like that, because I'm passionate. And I call it what was I calling it down? We were at RoofCon last year, and I tried to had a moment. I got very excited. I guess I sometimes I get excited. And it came out of me. I got very excited at RoofCon, but what happened was, shit, where was I going with that? Oh, so I don't want people to walk on eggshells around me at all. You know what I mean? And I don't want, I want them to know what person to expect on a daily basis. And I also want them to know boundaries.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's probably the biggest thing, is like setting boundaries of like, okay, I don't have to, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought again. Accept unacceptable behavior.
Right.
You know, I mean, really, I don't have to. And we're all in a position today where it's like, we don't have to go to Crazy Town. Like, I choose not to go to Crazy Town. And if that person's life is upside down and it's crazy and they're saying negative things, it's because, you know, I absorb that shit after a while. After a while, I can't deflect that anymore, and I start to absorb it, and it starts to wear me down. And that could have been one of those situations too, where I allowed other person's actions to affect me, opposed to, and see, this is where it comes back to me, where I got 3 fingers pointing at me, that I accepted that. Right. I allowed that energy to happen around me, and I didn't put my foot down soon enough. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter, because I actually get to choose who I surround myself around today. That's my decision. Ultimately, whether it's a good employee doesn't really matter. If it's a good friend, it doesn't really matter. But if there's other things going on in their life, it doesn't matter what their skill set is, or it doesn't matter what their whatever. It's just like a salesperson, right? And we talk about this all the time. Like, this guy can be a $2 million producer, but he could be the most toxic person in your company. So your salespeople that aren't 10s like he is, that are 7 and 8s, with that person being in the building, now they're 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's not actually lifting them up. He's actually damaging your culture. Right. And everyone's walking on eggshells around him for one reason or another, whether it can be 100 different scenarios and why they're performing poorly around, because this guy's in the building. And that's something that doesn't happen or learn overnight either. Right. Like, what are you going to accept today? It's like, I didn't know I had a choice. A lot of us don't even know that we had a choice. You know what I mean? And this is the thing too. Early on in business, I could only afford crackhead wages. Well, guess who I had working for me?
Crackheads.
I had a bunch of fucking crackheads working for me. The difference today is that I can afford a goddamn salary for somebody, for them to buy a home and get a car and support their family.
And it's exponential. You know what I mean? The more people you bring in like that, the more you attract the top tier talent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like, now it's like you get a stack applications all of a sudden, you can sift through them suckers, and it's like hire slow, fire fast.
Yes.
That's a saying that you say a lot around here.
Yeah.
Do the slow hiring process. And if they don't fit, man,
Mm-hmm.
you tell the story all the time about the 2 week notice.
Yeah.
You gave somebody a 2 week notice
Mm-hmm.
that, like, hey, this isn't going to work out. You got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Find something else. We'll give you a good recommendation, but you just don't fit our culture.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And that's okay, man, because
Mm-hmm.
that person, you're doing them a favor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's another place that they're going to be successful in. You know what I mean? That they can go that maybe just isn't here. It just doesn't fit here. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to fit somewhere else.
Exactly.
Perfectly.
And they did. Within 3 days, they had a job.
Yeah,
We gave
absolutely.
them, we were fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Unfortunately, yes, it's nothing about your work performance. Your performance is great. We'll give you, highly recommend you to anywhere you go. Unfortunately, you don't fit the culture.
Yeah.
And that sucks when that happens, especially if they're a high performer. But you got to make that decision for the greater of the group, for the greater of the whole, for your sanity. And if you wouldn't want to sit next to that person and work next to them, why would you subject somebody in your team to have to sit next to them and work next to them if you couldn't do it yourself? And that was my determining factor, that if I couldn't do it, I'm not going to allow them to have to do it. So
Well said.
Well, I mean, we've all had in people that we've had to let go, and like as soon as they left, like the air was different, and you had to do it. And once again, what you allow, or what another thing is what you reward will get repeated. So that's just, and it's so hard. And like I said, we've made plenty of stupid hires, and you know what? We've had to let some people go, and the few I've had to let go, I can sleep at night because I feel like I did it with an enormous amount of grace, and go from there. I mean, it's never fun, and there is that weird awkwardness when it first happens, and I over communicate. I just text the team, hey, just so you know, this person quit, or this person here is no longer with us. I like the communication. I don't want you guys guessing what's going on. I'm not airing any other details. However, if you've got questions, call me individually. And they never call you, but I don't know. I try to over communicate that, and it's not easy at all, but
yeah, no, it's not.
Well said, man.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not. And this is thing too. We don't always have the right answer. Yeah.
And like you said, Ty, like you got to pay better, or, every salary position we bring on, I'm always like, are we big enough to handle that? And there's not been one that I've been like, oh, I'm not happy we did that, and like you said, you pay crackhead wages, you get crackheads.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite quote that you've ever said on here. 181 episodes, dog. I loved it.
And something else is like, we really try to watch our culture, and we try to be very intentional there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because you have that opportunity to do that today, and that's one of the most important things. I mean, besides systems, SOPs is culture. Mm-hmm. Without that team, you can have no systems or processes if you have a solid culture. Your system and process can be the most piss poor, and we've been there. Mm-hmm. We had a great culture. We had a family setting. The atmosphere was banging on all 8 cylinders. And as we grew, we realized, we got to go from a day planner to Google Calendar, from Google Calendar to a CRM. And it's like, once we started to crack that code, I guess, mm-hmm. right? It was like, but what drove us to that point was our team and our culture.
Right.
And I'd say at first, if anyone's watching this right now and starting out in business, create a culture. Not that you can't have a system and do it parallel with each other, right? But if you have a good team to help build that system and process and get their input and use their experience of where they worked before, or whatever the case might be, but don't try to drive that train yourself. Get the input from the team, because that also strengthens the culture as well. and at the end of the day, ultimately, man, it's about the team, and having an impact on their lives, and allowing them to feel part of something that's great. And they know that they have a career and a future there, and that the company is growing. So there's going to be room for advancement as well because of the work that you're helping put into this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let them be creative, man. Don't hire smart people if you tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let them give them room to suggest things and actually listen to their suggestions. Doesn't mean you have to take them, but a lot of times, man, people have some smart ideas, you know, because you know, you can't see around every corner. You know what I mean? You don't know. There's things that go on in this office on a daily basis that I don't really know what the things or the decisions that went into those things, like everything that had to, every step of that process that had to be made to get there. So like, you got to trust that the people are doing what's in the best interest of the team as a whole, and allow them to make mistakes. You know, that's just kind of circling the whole way back there, man. Let people make mistakes, but 9 times out of 10, man, people are going to suggest what's in the best interest of the company. And if you're hiring people that are smarter than you are, which is what a lot of business owners do, they figure out what they're good at, and then they hire the people that are really smart in the areas that they're not good at. Don't tell those people what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. And one of the biggest things, Vic and I just talked about this yesterday or the day before. I heard something somewhere. They were talking about, you know, basically we talk about it all the time. If you're happy at, you know, what you do, right? Like, you'll never work a day in your life. And not saying for 1 minute that I'm unhappy with what I do at all. Like, I really enjoy what I do. But what's cool about today is when I wake up, that I think it was this morning that Vic and I had a conversation. It was like, you know what, I'm going to do something I actually enjoy today. Yeah. Like, I was very intentional. I didn't even really, not that I didn't care about what needed to get done or if I didn't already have a plan, but Brandon, one of our newer sales guys, has a pretty significant size job on the table right now, and had asked me for help. So we set this meeting up at our new location where I thought, you know what, I'll show Brandon how to dazzle somebody. And like, I enjoyed helping him with his presentation. Like, you know, you need to show them that they're receiving more value in price than price. Right? Like, this is how you show them right out of the gate, right? With the welcome to TC Backer on the monitor, right? With the PowerPoint presentation, so they're not looking over your shoulder. You know, we're in a neutral location. We had a notepad and pen. I saw her pick up two pads and a pen and put them in her wallet because she thought they were nifty. Like, she gained more value. We don't even know if we got the job yet, but she received more value. Well, anyhow, not to get off track. But that's why I enjoyed. That was me in the day. Like, at one point in time, the only sales that came in the door, that was me. And it was like, I forgot how much I enjoyed the presentation part of it. Yeah. Right. Not just emailing a quote. Right. And then never following up with it. I know a lot of people still do that today, or think that's why I got a CRM. Yeah. That's why I got a CRM. No. Yeah. No. Not if you want to give value and actually help somebody. Yes. And educate them. Educate them on, like, this is why you needed a new roof to begin with. Like, you had poor ventilation. You had no insulation in your attic. This will help save your energy bills. This is why the cost is what it is. This is because we use the best products. Whatever the case may be, however you want or choose to educate them. That's where I get my rocks off, in that arena right there. Yeah. Can I do that every day? I probably shouldn't, but I chose, like, I know that makes me happy. That's my happy place. And so Vic helped me set up the office a little bit as he's mopping the floor. We had an open house there. So Vic's mopping the floor. There was something in every single office chair. So I'm brushing out the dirt and there was fingerprints on the new table. So I got the Windex out, and then we went through all this and we couldn't get the internet to work.
Oh man, that sucks.
Hence why we haven't moved in the building yet, because I knew shit was going to go down. Yeah. So we're doing some dry runs over there a little bit, and come to find out there's a not a network issue, but just a Wi-Fi issue throughout the building that we thought was was really strong. So we now know what we have to do in each individual room to have more Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
So anyhow, long story short, we still bedazzled her. We broke out the bedazzle gun and we started putting some rhinestones on some shit, and we made it all sparkly for her. And she had 2 of the notepads and a hand and a fistful of pens. And no, it wasn't that bad. But no, it was fun.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. What a great episode.
It was.
We're an hour and 4 minutes in.
Oh my God. We were late.
Yeah, I know, right? Bob and Emily, I appreciate you guys coming on here. I appreciate hearing the stories. I definitely am rooting for you guys. You guys are basically neighbors for us too. And yeah, man, it's been a great episode. I like talking about the stuff that we talked about today. That gets all the juices flowing in here. And I wish you guys nothing but success for sure. And I hope to see you guys back on here at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Bob and Emily are rock stars, and you have surrounded yourself around a great group of men and women. I look forward to seeing you guys in about a month if we don't see you sooner. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys here in Punta Cana. This weekend is actually Jana and I's 1-year anniversary that we were in Punta Cana.
Banana.
So big shout out to that. My mom's 75th birthday was yesterday, so God bless my mother, else I wouldn't be here today.
Happy birthday.
That's why she's my mom. But anyhow, love you guys. I do. Thank you, Bob, for coming on. Emily, keep that knucklehead in line over there. And if you need me, I'll come over and give him a swift kick in the ass.
I'll try.
Love you guys. Thanks for coming
on. Before we hop out of here, before you guys hit that end broadcast, do you guys want to plug your company at all? Do you guys want to let everyone know how to get a hold of you when this hits the Facebook algorithms over there in Indiana for your audience?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, of course, Bob and Emily Hoel. We got separate accounts, Hoel Roofing and Remodeling. So absolutely, if anybody's listening in our area, we'd be honored to serve them. And Ty, I love you. You're a brother, and I mean that. I appreciate the text messages, the phone calls, the friendship that we have, and absolutely rooting for you guys. Excited to watch your guys' growth. And seriously, appreciate you, and I really appreciate my lovely bride just hopping on. This is way out of her comfort zone, but she's one of them behind the scene leaders that she hates that discomfort, but there's something really special in her. And 2-3 years ago, she had told me to kiss her ass, or that she wasn't getting on. So I'm excited to see her do stuff like this, and because I mean, no different than you, Ty. Like, it takes a hell of a woman right beside your side to be successful.
Oh yes,
yes.
The belief that she has in me is amazing. So,
amen.
Well said, Bob.
Yeah, man.
Well said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Again. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. See you soon, guys. Thank you guys. If you have not done so, hop over to the YouTube page, please, Behind the ToolBelt. Like and subscribe to that. Hit the bell for notifications. It'll let you guys know when we go live. If you have not done so, hop over to TC Backer Construction's Facebook page. Give that a like and a bell. That you guys know the drill. We say it every week. Thank you guys, all the religious viewers, for tuning in every week, man. We really appreciate it. It makes it fun. And the chat was popping today. There was a lot going on there. I seen you guys having a blast. Bob, you're going to like the chat when you go back through there, man. Definitely go back through and read that. But yeah, hopefully everyone finishes the week strong, man. It's halfway through the week. We will see everyone next Wednesday, 7 p.m. I think you're going to be live from South Carolina, right?
Yeah, we'll be in South Carolina.
Make sure you guys tune into that.
That'll be a very special episode.
We got a good one next week. Make sure you guys tune into that. Everyone finish out your week strong, man. We love you guys. See you guys next week.